So the first thing I always say is do not scold, do not punish. Once you scold, then you will find that they start to be secretive.
Youth nowadays, they are actually way smarter than we were when we were young. When they already know that vape is harmful, but they still take it regardless.
If this thing haven't started,
Yeah.
I still have my daughter now.
Welcome back to another episode of our special on vaping and its impact on society. Today we'll be zooming in a bit more on the usage of vapes amongst the younger crowd. And in this episode, we'll explore the emotional and psychological toll it takes on vape users and their families, plus how parents are navigating raising teens in this very complex vaping landscape. So joining us today, we have clinical psychologist Dr. Annabelle Chow, Chow, also known as Runner Chow, who has 10.6 million likes on TikTok, and Mr. Delfard, who unfortunately lost his daughter through the use of Kpods. So let's start with Chow. So lately your TikTok, right, is full of like vaping content, and you've been speaking to a lot of teens, I think, about this topic. So what have you been hearing from them on the ground?
I do have a lot of conversation on where they get their vapes and how much do they know about what vapes really are, whether they know the harmful effects of vape, what are the side effects, and the different types of vapes available out there. A lot of that they told me is because out of curiosity, because a lot of their peers are using it. So they feel that everyone is using it, then it must be cool. That's when I realized the trend of vapes is on the uptick, because I do hear from them more often than not during the last few months. That's when I realized I need to really ramp up my anti-vaping content.
I think from a psychology perspective, that is quite aligned with developmentally where they are. So if you think about our youths, they're actually at that stage that they want to fit in, that, being cool is really important. They're trying to figure out what their identity is. So, if you don't do it, then you're not cool. If all my friends are doing it, then I have a fear of missing out. But also on top of that, a lot of them say it's about stress. Right, it's a way that they cope with stress. Do you get that?
I do get that a lot about stress. Maybe the results not doing as well as they could. Maybe going through some like conflicts with their family members. So that's when they start to vape because they see it as an antidote. For them to suppress what they are feeling. Is it because the frontal lobe is not fully developed? That's why they cannot analyze properly.
Correct.
So we have two psychologists on set today.
No, I'm not psychologist.
Yes, so you're right. Our frontal lobe, so our prefrontal cortex, this part is not actually fully developed until we are about 25 years old.
Yeah.
So this part of the brain helps us make decisions, helps us plan, helps us weigh out the pros and cons, short-term, long-term consequences. So you think about the young, right? The adolescents, our youth, this is not fully developed. However, the inside part of our brain, which is the feeling part called the limbic system, is hot on wheels. Why vaping becomes so addictive is because it really, that two systems, one being undeveloped, you cannot make decisions and you cannot weigh out pros and cons. One is hot on feelings, and both of them combined together, it creates this situation where I'm very stressed now, I want a quick fix. And vaping helps to meet that quick fix. Right. So if you think about running, right, you need to at least run, 20, 30 minutes. I need to at least run 30 minutes before I feel like I'm distressed, at the least, right? But vaping is a quick, immediate hit.
Yes.
It's very accessible. You take it out from your pocket or your bag. And you get the dopamine hit very quickly. So dopamine is that feel-good hormone, right? So like when you eat cake or when you go running or when you vape, it actually activates that part of the brain. So all in all, it makes it very addictive. When they at that developmental stage, they don't actually think about what it actually means to them, but they don't really understand the consequences. So if you tell them, you might get cancer later, it's a bit too far for them to understand that. Maybe instead, if you tell them you can't make it to the school team, your stamina is affected, you have bad breath, you might have more acne, your skin is not clear, then these things affect them.
Two of the youth, they told me directly saying, initially we are in the basketball school team, but the coach dropped us. It's because our stamina is getting poorer and poorer. That's when they realized, actually basketball means more to me than vaping. So eventually they quit is because of basketball.
So for Delfard, your daughter actually started out with the normal vapes first before progressing to Kpods, right?
Yes.
So what was the story like there?
2022, when I first came out of prison, I saw her using vape. And This vape, right? I already heard from prison people coming in and say, hey, no need cigarette already. Vape can already. And some more very convenient in pot size.
Yeah.
So when I go out, I saw my daughter vaping and there's a lot of flavors.
Yeah.
And from time to time, I can say she talks about it. Hey, this device good, that device good. So it becomes a conversation between us.
When your daughter started on like the clean vapes, was she very like addicted? And did you see her friends also like super hooked on vapes? Like what were you thinking? I think at that point.
It's a trend to them. And then I see everyone also take one vape.
Yeah.
It start from pots and then start to disposable.
Yeah.
A lot of kinds. At the point, I didn't think much. I thought it's convenient and then it's not harmful. To me, I don't know what will happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. People say smoking will cause lung cancer or everything.
Yeah.
But this vape, I still go and research. All this didn't say that it's harmful or anything.
Correct. Because
And
it's still new.
It's still new. It's
Yeah.
still new. So until something like Kpods happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then like it was like what, 2 years later or something when she started introducing you to Kpods, right?
Yes, 2024.
Yeah.
One day she came back.
Yeah.
She said, hey dad, she speak in Chinese lah. Hey, 你 try 这个，这个啊抽了会 high 的。Then I was, why you take such things? So I just don't take this. And we have few arguments about this.
Yeah.
She said, it's not illegal what. Everyone she told me is 尿都不会中. Yeah, that means the urine will not, you say, won't kind of detected lah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So after the argument, right,
Yeah.
she didn't show me how she shake all this.
Yeah.
I only catch it through cameras, seriously.
Okay.
Because she don't want me, I don't know, she don't want me to, scold her or anything like that.
So we've got a video from another member of public, right, showing some kids suffering from the effects of Kpods. You can just press play. Yeah. So these are common symptoms that we see lah. They're like twitching, behaving really oddly, I think. You can see like a number of them were actually quite young. It's not a lot of the middle-aged or what is usually teenagers, right? So for Delfard, I think you mentioned that you saw your daughter's behavior through your house CCTV.
Yes.
Was this something similar that you saw?
Yes, something similar. They will repeatedly do one things like not properly done, like putting one can of beer down there, she will put, and then you put topper, something like that.
Yeah. So when your daughter started on Kpods, right, what were some of the things that you saw? Like you mentioned there were some behavioral changes, right? What did you experience with her?
Very open up.
Okay.
Like she will be talkative. If she didn't smoke, right, she would be like moody.
Aiyo.
This vape shouldn't have started. Yeah, because this is the first of Kpod or this. People misuse it. People twist it.
Yeah.
So if this thing haven't started,
Yeah.
I still have my daughter now.
Because a lot of young people, right, they do come up to me asking what exactly is vape. And some of them are confused, what is the difference between vapes and Kpods? For me, I put it very bluntly to them. All types of vapes are poison.
Yep.
Everything is no good, regardless of whatever ingredient they put inside. I just tell them straight out, it will destroy your organs. I think because it's the manufacturer's fault. Because the way they package the vapes
Aesthetically appealing.
Aesthetically, that's the reason why they still have the stigma that cigarettes is harmful, but vape is not.
Yep.
Because the way they package it, they name it flavors like lychee freeze, mango ice, bubble gum.
Yeah.
All these type of cool names, right? That shift the perception of the harmfulness of the vape. So this is something that through my content I try to shift their perception of that all vapes are harmful. Yeah.
Yeah, so for you, right, you speak to a lot of parents whose, I guess, concerns would be that their children are hooked on vapes, things like that. What do you usually tell them? Like, what are the things that they can do to counter?
So the first thing I always say is do not scold. Do not scold, do not punish. And I think this is a very natural, it's ingrained in our culture because our parents, our grandparents, and it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
But do not scold. Because once you scold, then you will find that they start to be secretive. They hide it from you. They don't tell you. And one of the premise to be able to help our kids is to have a good relationship with them.
Yeah.
And once you have a good relationship with them, you are inviting conversations, then you have a chance at helping them.
Yep.
The second thing is be curious, ask questions. I see vapes or Kpods or whatever that comes after as a manifestation, as a consequence of something. So I think finding out like the reason why they started on it means that we have a better chance at helping them.
Yep.
So for example, they say, if I don't do it and then I get bullied, my friends don't want to friend me, they exclude me in their groups, then it's actually about talking about those strategies, right? And also helping them understand, are these the friends you actually want to hang out with? Helping them make informed choices. Or if they say that, I'm very stressed, that's why I started vaping, it helps me manage my stress quickly, then that gives me, a segue to a new strategy to help manage the stress.
What I notice about my own kids are how they behave as they grow up. As they grow from young, eventually to become primary school, now going to secondary school soon. More often than not, I realize my kids, right, a lot of things they learn is from influencers online. Yeah, whether it's good or bad, because my kids love influencers like Mr. Beast, iShowSpeed, all these huge influencers. So sometimes, influencers in America, they are not as
regulated,
not as regulated, and they do a lot of nonsense things online. So for myself, I always put myself in their shoes. That means following who they follow. If I have the chance to correct them on the spot, then I'll correct them on the spot. Youth nowadays, they are actually way smarter than we were when we were young. They know everything. Yeah, more often than not, they already know that vape is harmful. They know it's bad, but they still take it regardless. I always try my best to communicate in a level that is using their own lingo. To talk to them so that they will be able to absorb better, and they do not show a lot of resistance to me because they feel that I'm already their friend. But when you use those type of lingo in a fun way, right, that's when they start to be more relaxed. They are more willing to be open to listen to what I have to say. Why vaping is harmful, all this. Yeah.
So since Shermaine was 6 years old, I just took her in, but I never give her a good parenting. I thought spending time with her is just give her an iPad. I just be with her. But no, I think I myself must do activities with her, but I didn't, to connect with her.
But that was the best you could do at that point also.
Yes, because I a bit busy with business. My mind was money. Yeah, as long I earn as much money, I can sponsor her to study this or learn that. But end up everything become not the same . Yeah, actually now I learn time can be arranged one. Like what you say, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. All this, we can arrange all this time for them. It's just that sometimes we are lazy or we give excuses.
Tired. I think it's really hard because usually if you look at the parents' age and the child's age, usually that's the time where the parents are busy working and trying to earn money for education, and there's increased finances, and then that's the time where the children's needs are the highest. So as a working parent, it's really difficult to tango that and find, the energy level or the headspace to actually be able to spend time.
Because I have young kids of my own, more often than not, same as you all, I always forget also. So every day, my wife has to remind me, hey, dear, don't keep scrolling your handphone. Go and talk to the children, ask them how's their day, because I'm not that type of person. So this is something I'm very thankful that my wife is constantly reminding me that knowing what's going on with your child on a daily basis is actually very important to build the bond, like what Annabelle shared just now.
Okay, how about for things that are a little bit of a tricky situation? Like you do speak to your kids, right? For example, and how's your day? And then your kid says, I had a great day. I discovered vapes today. How do you approach that?
Yeah. So tell me a bit more. Curiosity, no scolding, curiosity. Ask where do you get the vapes from? Tell me more. What made you decide to try it? How does it taste like? Do you have it? Show me. Can we talk about it? Then how do you feel? No, then they will get really angry at you. Then tell me more about it. Show me, talk to me about it.
Right.
First, you must connect. Then you can correct. Right? So they must feel, you must be genuine, and then they feel like you understand. And I think that's what's happening with Chow, right? The kids that talk to you, they feel like you understand. I mean, to the fact that they want to tell you. A lot of time
I will ask them, hey, why you all share so much with me? Because I'm not your dad, I'm not your brother. Why you all keep telling me? Then more often than not, they will say, my parents will hear one, they don't want to talk to me.
Aiyo.
You listen.
Okay, there's one incident that still really I still remember deeply in my mind is when I was one day live streaming and having my lunch at the same time. One boy just come up to me and asked me, Ranakau, can I talk to you for a little while? Regards to vaping. It's regarding to vaping. Then I realized he just needs someone to listen to him. His friend, a good friend of his who has been vaping, right, met with an accident, right? He just needs someone to listen to them. I may not be able to resolve his issue, but there's someone to listen to him, makes him feel better at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that maybe it's a really critical point.
Yes.
I think rarely, if any, we can resolve somebody's issue.
Exactly.
So I think when we start to make intentional space for the people we care about, then there's a bit of a ripple effect, right? Like, then we have an ecosystem that is less lonely, and then you don't feel like you need
More
to take...
supportive lah.
Correct. You don't feel like you need to take substances to hit a high,
Yes.
or like to cope with your stress.
Talk to me can also hit a high.
Yes.
Yeah, so talk to me better. Yeah.
Yeah, also can talk to him.
For Delfard, right? Did you speak to like Shermaine's friends afterwards?
Yes, some of them still contact me.
Okay.
Sometimes we still go and eat. Just they will check out Papa Teh. They call me Papa Teh. How are you? Yeah, some of them, and I also encourage them. And few of them who see Shermaine's situation, right?
Yeah.
They stop.
Okay.
Yeah, they stop.
Yeah. And like because you guided them and you,
Not feel like that. Maybe they also scared of what happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel that sharing your story in the public, right, actually helps a lot of people, in my opinion. Yeah. So that when they hear you relate your story, right, it really helps them to build a perspective how serious the vaping can be.
Yeah, that's something.
So I really applaud you.
Yeah. Is that something you share with Shermaine's friends as well?
Yes.
You remind them.
Yeah, remind them. You see, Shermaine. Yeah. Not only Kpod, but if they vape, I'll tell them stop that vape.
I think for a parent to lose a child is one of the hardest pain that any living person or anyone has to go through. And I think it's very confronting and very brave for you to share about this, so that you were telling me you want to stop people from taking vapes because the consequence is irreversible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have any advice that you want to give to parents, or any like final thoughts like to young children who are on Kpods?
To parents, pay attention to your child, and then like what doctors say, spend time with them and try to connect with them. For the young ones, you think this is cool, but it's not. One part of it will really ruin you. You will steal your dreams, you will kill your future, and you will destroy your family. Look at me and my daughter. Yeah, I share this is not to get sympathy, actually. I share this so that just one of you can be safe, and my daughter memories, right, can be, serve a purpose for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
For Chow, do you have any last words to like your young followers or those parents who also have young teens like you?
It's somewhat in the same meaning as Delfard. Just that I try to say it in a Gen Z lingo. Is it okay?
Go for it. Go for
So
it.
yes, like what I say, vaping is not Sigma. If you think vaping is cool, you are a fool. And you do not have any aura points if you vape. So, and if anyone tell you that vaping is a trend, no, it's not a trend. Vaping is a threat. It's poisonous. Don't take it, everyone. If you take it, you are not my besties. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and Dr. Annabelle.
All I want to say is, not just vaping. Maybe I start broadly speaking. As long as you're struggling with something, talk to a trusted adult. It can be Chow, it can be a family member, it can be a teacher, but talk to a trusted adult, because you are not alone in this and you don't have to be. So HPB now has a QuitVape Programme. They have agencies all around Singapore. They're designed to help you. You can walk into their agencies, you can call them, you can WhatsApp them, but reach out for help. You are not alone in this.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Annabelle. Thank you, Delfard. And thank you, Chow, for sharing these stories. So if you or a loved one need a little nudge in the right direction to quit vaping, you can check out the link below for the resources that are available. And with that, we've come to the end of today's episode. We hope these conversations that we had today help to shed some light and understanding on the struggles that vape users face and the impacts on their families. So if, like what Dr. Annabelle said, if you need some help, don't be afraid to reach out. There are resources available and we could always use a little bit of support. Thanks for watching today's episode. We'll catch you next time.